Yeah, scientific breakthroughs, unveilings, spiritual revelations, the openings. Yeah, 1, 2. First World Order Radio, Tips and Tricks Tuesdays, Black Water the Meta Magician. It's Tips and Tricks Tuesday, another news day. North, east, west, south, west. Not here to confuse the day, just diffuse the way. Another Tips and Tricks Tuesday. That pig, that's fine. Hijacking the mind, aluminum bonds with intelligence. Rewind the message. Merry Christmas. 13 indigenous immigrants. State of the unison, addressing nothing. Foundations can ruin, level to level. Fuck the embezzle, mix tales from the crypt, hitting blood rituals. 50 scores flying over California vacation. Flying dragons, swords and daggers, lions and tigers. Gotta get my bearings or perish. Tear into raw flesh, vampire, vegetarian. I'm a malnutrition, chemically imbalanced. Ethiopian, inhaling kush. Blue projects get pushed, mold with the bush. Standing on the middle line, no defining. Swirling dervish, in between space and time. Tips and Tricks Tuesday, another news day. North, east, west, south, west. Not here to confuse the day, just diffuse the way. Another Tips and Tricks Tuesday. Tips and Tricks Tuesday, another news day. North, east, west, south, west. Not here to confuse the day, just diffuse the way. Another Tips and Tricks Tuesday. Yeah, when it happens, we're gonna take over everything. Fuck your school, fuck your hospitals, fuck your churches. We busting out windows, we shoot through that shit. We holding up fort, we feeding the children. Now let's go.
At any rate, reducing, reproducing, pollution, seeking conclusions, looking on the moon for a human. Soon seen high noon, typhoons, bicycle helicopters, transfuse water dilutes, acidic excuses. I'm reclusive in seclusion, non-conversions, faulty resolution. The lack of cash had me looting, shooting masked up. I'm on your fumes, pull your hands up with this bifocal smoke here.
I'm a Grand Kush toter.
Ashes smash, slam, choke you, throw you into hollow earth, breach, birth, come out the other side, feed first, midsummer night, no quench for the thirst, there's an oasis, only mirrors, false sensations, 5 heartbeats away from temptation, I leave no traces, wasting material, phrases, ethereal, then serial kill you. There's no start to this madness, ending only to begin again, spotting ladders, spotting smart hazards, ending only to begin again. There's no start to this madness, ending only to begin again. Spotting ladders, spotting small hazards.
Now let's go into this madness.
Yeah, I'm a little rebellious. Establishments embezzle, evil church steeples, hypodermic needles, wide receivers try to intercept, can't deceive, expect disease insects. Crawl in the belly of the beast, feeding on moldy yeast, frying scalded grease. I suicide or release Al Capone, Tommy gun, street sweeping. I'm the Grim Reaper, soul keeper, call me Morpheus.
Wake you from your sleep state.
I got infinite styles, figure 8. Slither outer formation, skin withering off a weathered snake. Take my medicine every day, 30 minutes before 8. While you're pulling the weights, I'm digging in crates, filling my plates, kick, push, skate. Roll out state to state while you walk through the eyes, hypnotized, searching for change. Acting the range while the streets go insane. There's no start to this madness, ending only to begin again. Spotting ladders, spotting smart hazards, ending only to begin again. There's no start to this madness, ending only to begin again. Spotting ladders, spotting smart hazards.
Now let's go into this madness.
Greetings. All right. Thank you, Loki. Nah, it's bullshit, man. I had to get a guitar, man. It's been a while since I played one, like five. I think I was 5 years old when I last touched basses with a guitar. This is an acoustic guitar, pretty cool though. It's acoustic electric guitar, so you can plug in and still get that electric sound too. But all in all, give thanks, peace, blessings, and blessings. Peace, prosperity, protection, and good health to all. Islam, peace. She watched that ish. Of course, I want to give thanks to brother and sister who laid the platform for this venue right here. First World Order Radio, Dr. Alim and Princess Kadira. Give thanks for that family right there that's uniting us brothers and sisters together, the niggas and the goons out here, the queens and kings. We give thanks to you guys, all the guys and goddesses out and about. Doing this early morning, it's another Tips and Tricks Tuesday. Of course, I'm bringing it back on the scene right here for you. And the topic today is yoga diet, or Smai Tawi when they met, meaning basically Smai Tawi means the unification of both sides in the food. So the food or the sustenance that unites both sides. All right, we're gonna go into try not to hurt you, keep you in here too long. It's early, it's 12:30, so we can stay on here to 12:30 tonight. If YouTube would allow 8-hour, 12-hour discourse. But of course, we all have other things to do. But this is a good time of the day with high noon, if you will. The afternoon coming in. Good time to get some food going. Sustenance. Food for thought, as well as food for the body, food for the mind, food for the spirit, food for the soul, real soul food. You know what I'm talking about? Okay, so it's Sifu Elohee or Blackwater, the Metal Magician, that is coming to you live and direct at the moment. So I want to, start off with basically tips and tricks. Since this is tips and tricks, one of the good tips is hearing is believing. I'm always going to throw that in there. Hearing is believing, seeing is knowing, experiencing is becoming, and experiencing is being. So hearing, we believe certain things people tell us. We watch TV or whatever, or listen to radio. We hear, with the structure of this reality or society is telling us, and we go off of that learned behavior and believe it. We might even act on it. Seeing is knowing it. So if we're directly in that moment, in that environment, and we see it, then we know it to be a fact. We're not just hearing or believing it. Then actually going through it, not just seeing it or hearing it, actually going through it is experiencing it and becoming. Becoming what it is that you have heard or read or seen it in a book, or if you heard somebody else talking about certain aspects of life, whatever, pieces of the puzzle, then you are becoming it by experiencing it. Experiencing is being it after becoming, whatever it is, like enlightened, or the alchemical expression of being enlightened, going through that process of experiencing it, you are experiencing it. It's now indwelling intelligence that is coming forth through you through the portal of the body. You know what I'm saying? That vortex of energy. So be it dark energy, dark matter, whatnot, that energy that's going in and out, energy, is now expounding or espousing itself into the external reality through the experiencing of being, becoming external on after the becoming of what you have known, you know what I'm saying, or building in the knowledge. With that said, we're gonna go into some literature and everything. Like I said, I'm not gonna keep you. I'm gonna go right into it. We're gonna dive on into it. You know what I'm saying? Just dip, dive into place. So I don't want to monopolize your time, like you said, like we say. You know what I'm saying? And then we'll go into some other things. All right. So the first book I'm gonna come out of is First World Order by Dr. Alain. Of course. Yeah, I give thanks to their brother for bringing this to the table. Give thanks to Washington. Take a Monty Moors as well. Give thanks to the Moors in general and to all. Okay, so today's topic is the yoga diet. Y'all hearing a lot of stuff jumping around. It's me cooking up. You know what I mean? Just bear with me for a moment. Yeah, I'll get it together. Still there, yeah. Yes, yeah. Once again, it's Cornel West and Francis Sess Wilson's Love Child. That's me right there. I'm the button that they lost off their jacket. Now, just I know my head. Yeah, man, look at you back in the '70s, Superfly. I'm your pusher. Pushing this good dope to you. You get that dopamine, that L-Dopa jumping. You know what I'm saying? Okay, what I was going to read right here. It states right here. This is like the 4-page dedication, chapter 1. It says, angelic beings, ancestors, direct my physical and spiritual soulful aims. First world, if you don't got it, go get it. It's a good book to learn from, to also be able to express the information to others if you are starting to become a teacher in this science, in this math. All right, so angelical beings, ancestors direct my physical and spiritual soulful aims. For the ancestors exist within us in the form of DNA. We have their genes. For we are the byproduct, the concentration of 7 generations back on the mother, Ma'atri side, and father, Patara Tahuti side. 14 generations, Asur, Asuru. They also exist all around us in the elements. When our ancestors transcend and leave behind the physical body, melanin, the buried corpse decomposes and is absorbed by the earth to become fertilizer for the plants, scrubs, trees, and etc. Though the physical body is cremated by fire, the body fluids such as blood, plasma, cerebral spinal, or etc. Remember, our bodies are 3/4 of 75% water, are absorbed by the earth, vaporized by fire, heat of the sun to be recycled back in the form of water. The breath of life called spirit moves through our atmosphere called air in the form of carbon dioxide. The trees and etc. take in the carbon dioxide and gives off oxygen, and we take in the trace elements of the spirit in the form of oxygen to re-energize our cells. As a matter of fact, a pregnant woman's in-breath consists of a combination of all the elements called ether, which helps in the formation of the human body. The same goes for animal, spirit, and etc. Thus, I am made in the image of the nature, Natiru, hence the word Natir, God. a thinking and breathing manifestation of you all, known and unknown, right here and now. So basically, we're gonna get into that in a second. But right here on page 5, I was talking about hearing is believing, seeing is knowing, experiencing is becoming, and experiencing is being. All right. So here it states actually it's page 6. Yeah, page 6. And 5. This is a quote from Honorable Elijah Muhammad. A study of history is a most for all. It is most attractive and best qualified to reward our research as it develops the springs and motives of human actions and displays the consequences of circumstances, which operate most powerfully in the destinies of the human being. The wise man is the one who has made a careful study of the past events of ancient and modern history. The knowledge of the future is judged by the knowledge of the past. There are men born with the gift of prophecy, while some are trained into the knowledge by intense studies of the past events of history. Knowledge of the past. Know thyself. You know what I'm saying? Knowledge of self. To know thy future, one must know the past. All right? The knowledge of the future is judged by the knowledge of the past. Then right here, also according to Carter G. Woodson, this is page 6. The mere imparting of information is not education. Above all, the effort must make a man or person think and do for himself or herself. So knowing is half the battle. We can read all these information. I can know a whole big bunch of stuff about yogic principles and meditation. But until I stood up or sat down and figured out the in between and what that was and how to function in this so-called matrix, this mold, or of matter, of materialism, how to manifest as well as be not so connected to or have it to be an accompany, have it to be like something that's accompanying us on a journey that's permanent, because it is transitory. And this is, as far as the physical is concerned, is permanent. The soul takes in a lot, absorbs a lot. It's a sponge, basically, and it absorbs a lot through the interaction of nature and spirit. So the soul is here to experience, and as it becomes itself again, or has true knowledge of self, and that light is then formed again, then we take in the being aspect or the experiencing, and it's less of a functionality, or it's less of a, I guess I could say, is less of a potential hazard in its function because of the frustrations that may occur due to these ups and downs, highs and lows. It's fractionalization of our time space. All right. And that's like what media is doing, the fear operating things. Dorian, for instance, my daughter, she's very receptive. Of course, she's a girl, she's a woman, a young woman, 13 years old, and she's growing. And she takes in the information and she absorbs it. And she, functioning in the realm of thought that she is in as far as personalities that surround her and energies surround her. All of us are influenced by certain energies, basically. But anyway, so she's talking about Dorian. And she said Dorian is bipolar. And I thought, I was like, well, that is a true statement, because if you're thinking about what's going on with geoengineering, like the movie Geostorm, but basically, you got HAARP systems, SCATs, and all these different systems out here, and you got the chemtrails jumping off, and then you're thinking about what's going on with us as far as in human nature, as we can manipulate weather through our spirit or intelligence, and the high and low rates of what we would call the subtle bodies, and how the subtle bodies and the physical body or the lower realm generates different energies, you know what I'm saying? So that that light spectrum or whatnot can be altered and then associated, or it can actually influence or generate energy into the artificial light spectrum, like with the HAARP and all that, and the actual particulates of aluminum barium and aluminum sulfates. And when they bounce that frequency, high frequency oil research program, or HAARP, highly active oil research program, what I'm saying, when they bounce that frequency off that aluminum and that barium, it starts to do that bouncing stuff and gyrate and forms a frequency or vibration that is also connected to us. You know what I'm saying? So the influence of fear, that lower base energy, entangled with what's going on up there, it does cause some type of bipolarism or whatever, because you have the spiritual aspect of the nature of man, you know what I'm saying, the nature of mind, or the divine mind, and then you have the artificial aspect of this high frequency or highly active oil research program, the HAARP system, and different systems across the world now that are actually manipulating weather or changing weather. So this Dorian is going over here and it's going over there. But if y'all haven't noticed the patterns in the last few years with these weather anomalies, you know it can't, and it is not nature in a sense 100%. You know what I'm saying? Some of these, all of these winter storms, these tropical storms, and these depressions and things that's taking place throughout the year are manipulated by the hands of man. It's another one of those mood out, I'm talking about, I'm saying, Lemuria and Atlantis type ordeals going down. Man, it's trying to take advantage of his intellect and not being at one with the intelligence, you know what I'm saying, and allow things to happen naturally. And, so we believe this shit happening normal. It's normal, natural, normal, necessary. But is it necessary? Is it no? Is it normal? We think it is. Is it natural? Definitely not. All right, get things. So there again, the mere imparting of information is not education. Above all, the effort must make a person or a man think and do for himself. So, saying, stepping out the box sometimes, do for yourself. And that's what yoga, the food, yoga died. And I put the word died up there, I don't even like the word die die the extraterrestrial or the intelligence basically, but die meaning death, ignorance, and emotion. So that's what's killing us. Death is basically fueled by ignorance and our emotions as we become reactive to what we are ignorant to. Someone asked me the other day, why can't black people or melanated people unite? And I was like, I guess they were a little perplexed about that question. They was like, well, why can't we unite? I said, sure, I understand or understand the reason and understand as well, but I see, of course, overstand means to look not down on it like with the ego, but to look and see it from a hawk's eye point of view. So that means studying, and it requires a little time to be able to really see things vividly instead of with that vague, opaque type of arena of sight where we are blinded by all these different distractions that come our way. But basically, what I think, and from my own perception, I've drawn the conclusion that we can't unite so-called melanated people because we're the most primitive people on the planet Earth. You know what I'm saying? Basically, so we have a primitive brain called the R complex. And this R complex, or the reptilian brain, deals with emotions, movement, and things like that. But one of the main functions of it is fight or flight. So when we do have new information that comes our way, we're either going to fight it or we're going to run from it. And that's just nature, you know what I'm saying? But dealing with a bombardment of fear, false experiences appearing real, then it's easy for us to always have that overreactive mind of saying no. And, the subliminal message of Nancy Reagan back in the 80s with that whole campaign of on the war on drugs, war on everything, right? But the war on drugs was just say no. So we got that subliminal message, even though we reverse psychology, like, why are we going to say no to, what I'm saying? Everything. So we would say yes to the wrong things. But the stamp was there, that brain stamp, that brain stamp. They brainwash us with certain ideologies, and methodologies in the indoctrination. And then there's a brain staining where certain things become, in particular, permanent in that the physical transactions of the brain or the mind, we thinking, and then we had these emotional triggers that automatically cause us to go into that reactive mode again of fight or flight. We stay in that sympathetic nervous system so much that we're wondering why we're running around trying to do certain things as proper or conscious, but yet still we are unhealthy. And that's mainly due to we are primitive. So we're still stuck in that R complex, the neocortex, the frontal lobes, hasn't developed properly due to, like I said again, the overwhelming surplus of negative information or lower based, fear based information, you know what I'm saying? And it's causing us to stay in a cycle of fear due to what we have known to function with, you know what I'm saying? To adapt and overcome means we have to step out of the normalities, you know what I'm saying? The normalities are very addictive somewhat because we can talk about it, we can run around talk about all these different things going on in reality, you know what I'm saying? It's reality, not the ultimate reality though. So as soon as somebody starts talking about some spiritual shit, it could be just planting a seed to watch it grow. They're like, what you mean I'm going to Burger King? I ain't watching those. What? I ain't about to sit here for 2 months, 3 months out my year and wait for something to happen. You know, but that's the experience of becoming. You know what I'm saying? You know, time space is a gradual change. You know what I mean? When it becomes catastrophic, that's when it's cleanup time. That's when nature. Even though what we're looking at might not be 100% nature, nature is involved, you know what I'm saying? And that's in the mind. The mind is all. So nature's going in there like, okay, look, Bahamas, who going to the, bam, you know what I'm saying? Florida, what's it? Bam, you know what I mean? But these areas, even with these sociopaths out here, doing the mass shootings and whatnot, nature has a funny way of correcting itself, say no more. All right. So the ancestors or the ancestral energy has been displaced somewhat and misused. And we running around, like I said, our hands thrown up in the air, really questioning everything and not getting answers. You know what I mean? So when that takes place, when that happens, that means our connection to nature or our connection to the ancestors there's a disconnect. There's some type of discord in between the communication to who we are in truth and then who they want us to be. You know what I'm saying? So that's that the truth is higher self. Who they want us to be is lower self. The truth is the true intelligence. When we are caught up on the lies, the make-believe reality, you know what I'm saying? Something is blocking the information from formatting itself into the schematics of our presence in the now time, you know what I'm saying? And again, that's fear, false information, or false experiences appearing real. You know what I'm saying? The only real experience is your life, is you. You know what I'm saying? So we're going to go through, and partially, half of our life we may go through some misbelief, you know what I'm saying, or things that we thought was real and true. The majority or the masses, and I give thanks and I love all. A lot of people aren't going to wake up to this science, to this information, you know what I'm saying, this knowledge. They won't see it because, like I said, we've been engulfed and pretty much submerged in false information over the past, few generations, 300, 400, 600, 700 years of information has been falsified or half truths. So it's hard for us to break that mold as a population, let alone as a people or race, so-called race, you know what I'm saying? It's the human race, and the human race is very confused. You have, what we call rednecks, if that's what you want to call them or whatever, that believe a certain ideology only due to their parenthood. And then the generation that came before that generation. So they've been embedded with some type of mentality that they feel like is true. You know what I'm saying? Just as I've been embedded with, or, with a certain personality that was given to me by my forefathers. You know what I'm saying? So I had to get out that mold to think of that matrix, that physicality, to see all is one, regardless of race, color, creed, all that other stuff that, but it's all energy, but that energy can be manipulated, and furthermore, it can be basically manipulated and then have other things placed into it, because what's empty must be filled, right? So if you take out the truth, you got to fill it with something that's going to be untruths or half truths, because it got to be something that registers a muscle memory, like, oh shit, all right. But then all of a sudden, this ain't right. Once we get into the mode of thinking for ourselves and doing for ourselves, and becoming more self-aware, that's the key. Then other things start generating properly in this mode of life. All right. So I'm gonna read these right here. These are a couple of comedic proverbs on health. Seneb. The body becomes what the foods are, as the spirit becomes what the thoughts are. Right. So you are what you eat, as well as what you think. You know what I'm saying? So the spirit being the intelligence that forms our physical reality outside of it externally. Remember, 80% of our genetic expression comes from the external reality. Only 20% is delivered to us or arrives within us from our parentage and genealogy through the genetics. Our hair, our color, our height, things like that are from parents. But everything else, how we act, what we think, what we about to do, what we did, basically comes from 80% of the external physical reality. That's thoughts, you know what I'm saying? And that's based on epigenetics. And so look into that. The blessings of the eternal part are health, vigor, and proportion. The greatest of these is health. What health is to the body, even that is honesty to the soul. Develop your spirit that it may gain strength to control the body and follow the natural laws of nutrition and hygiene. Are you paying attention to me, or are you paying attention to the lady in the red dress? You know what I'm saying? So Morpheus had a statement right there that Neo had to really dig down deep into his soul and be like, what am I paying attention to? And like, what the fuck am I? I'm looking at this lady in the red dress, or I'm looking at the lower base. You know what I'm saying? Basically, I'm looking at the things of this reality like it's real. When all in all, somebody got a gun pointing to my face, and I'm not paying attention to my innermost, deepest thoughts, my subconscious nature, Morpheus. Because Morpheus is the god that woke up those entities in, I think it's the Greek pantheon. He woke them up from sleep. You know what I'm saying? So when we had that sleep state going on, we don't listen to that alarm. We tend to just smash the snooze button and turn back over and go back to sleep. Or we pick it up and throw it against the wall like, what the fuck? Like, wait, I don't want to go to work. You know what I'm saying? But we got a job. We have work to do, rather. You know what I'm saying? And working jobs, two different things. Working is becoming, actually. So when we are becoming, we are working towards a specific goal. I mean, it's not a requirement like they talk about, but it is something that we wish to fulfill in life. All right, so that would be knowledge itself, you know what I'm saying? Attaining that knowledge itself, or enlightenment, as some call it, you know what I'm saying? Buddha. If you would live in harmony with yourself and the earth, you must follow the laws of the earth, for your body is of the earth, lest it lead your soul to the path of disease, death, and reincarnation. The netis, or angels, nature, of the divine, will desert you, and those of evil will destroy your body and your spirit. So you see what's going on right now. It's a war going on outside. No man's safe from. You can run, but you can't hide forever from these streets that we done took. Walk around scared to look, shook. You know what I'm saying? Whatnot. Get thanks to Mobb Deep, Prodigy, and Havoc. That was a peace song right there. But before its time, you know what I mean? And it is still before its time. It's like it's things going on within, the battle within. But basically, you got fire, air, water, and earth, right? We are from the earth. And what are they doing with the earth? What is going on? What is man doing to the earth? They're poisoning it. You know what I'm saying? So sustenance, food, you know what I mean? Earth. You know what I mean? So then we have water. What is man doing to the water? Polluting it. You know what I'm saying? Poisoning that as well. Flint, it's been going on for hundreds of years, you know what I'm saying? Haw River, with different contaminants, and when industrialization came through and they just started throwing all type of junk into these waterways. Then you have air. So you got earth, water, air. Now you have air polluting that. You got chemtrails. You got so-called global warming with the aerosols and things like that. And then emissions from cars and planes and trains and all that good stuff, whatever it may be, automobiles and things. And it's going into the air. We're breathing it in. You know what I'm saying? The industrialization. You know what I'm saying? So all these different things is going out there. We breathing in, breathing back out. And then there's fire plasma. You know what I'm saying? And that is us. We are the heart, the plasma, the heart of it all. You know what I'm saying? That spirit, that intelligence would be the fifth, or you know what I'm saying? So you have like a pentagram or the five phases, the five movements, like we were talking about last week with the five movements. So you have fire, air, water, and earth, and then spirit ascending. Spirit is descending in this case, but it's also ascending. Basically, it is ascending because you're thinking about stress. What is the leading cause of disease or the disease state of mind? Stress. So we break that word down. Stress. You have set ras, and set ras in Kemetic or metamateria is set darkness ras rising. So darkness rising. So that darkness rising is that ignorance rising. That in place of intelligence rising, ignorance is rising due to the capacity, over, um, what's the word I want to use? Was the abundance of information that is based on fear again. So this fear, stress, set, darkness, ignorance rising keeps us fear keeps us ignorant because we stay in that mode of fear perpetually. You know what I'm saying? And I say we because I, can't disassociate myself from reality. You know what I'm saying? I'm still here. You know what I'm saying? I ain't ascended or descended or whatever, transcended. I have descended actually. I'm here. So I haven't transcended and ascended in that manner. You know what I'm saying? So basically, being here, that means that I still have to associate myself with the activities of physical life. And I physically am a part of this stuff. So we are still in a fear element. You know what I'm saying? We can step outside the box. That's one thing that we have learned to do in the enlightenment process or the alchemy of man. We step outside of that mode and we see the truth for what it is, and then we um, bring or bridge that truth to our reality and then assist others, you know what I'm saying, on that path. You know what I'm saying? But I'm only a voice. I'm not you. I can't do it for you in that manner. It is your responsibility, like I was reading earlier. You can get the information and you can know a lot, but it's up to you. I can know all things about constellations. I can know all things about tributaries on planet Earth or waterways and things. I can know the alignments of pyramids and Stonehenges and things that's going on in Area 51 and all that, or the 33rd parallel. But what is it if I'm not going to actually like go to it, even if it's in the mind, or sit at those points and junctures and meditate on it, or just activate that energy and then use it or utilize the energy as the force or whatever is personified in my physical to be able to manipulate it as well. So I mean, these interactions with all these things is fundamental, as far as the experiencing and becoming, and then in the experiencing, that's like, you put that candle down on that altar to alter certain aspects of life, physical. And then after a while, that's the experiencing or becoming is putting that candle down, placing that thing, giving thanks to the ancestors or going into the spiritual realm and bringing down energies of the material or whatnot, or whatever it is you may be doing with that energy, if that's what you're into. But after a while, you're like, hold up, you know what I'm saying? Experiencing. I can walk up the street and have that candle inside of me. That candle is my light. That's your fire. You know what I'm saying? That's within that plasma, that blood, that heart. You know what I'm saying? And as we move on, we notice that in America, especially with the standard American diet, which is sad or whatever, that our heart energy is being blocked. You know what I'm saying? And the function or the capability of us being connected to nature and to the material or to the ancestor is now in a standstill due to that obstruction. And what is America known for? The leading country for osteoporosis, heart disease, all this type of things, high blood pressure, dealing with heart. But when the heart start malfunctioning, then other parts of the body are malfunctioning because they're gonna be pulling the taxing energy trying to get that blood flow properly. That's why the blood increases. You know what I'm saying? And again, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a psychologist or quantum physicist or I'm not a mechanic or nothing or an engineer, but I did stay at a Holiday Inn Express last night. Give thanks. All right, all right, but all right. So the source of evil is your body. Evil entices the body through temptation of its weakest virtue. There can be no divinity in the unclean temple, not made by hands where abomination rules. There can be no divinity in the unclean temple, not made by hands where abomination rules. So we wondering why, I know some things, but things ain't what I'm wanting to manifest ain't activating the way that I want it to manifest. It's because we trying to clean up something with unclean in the unclean temple by the hands that were pretty much built by hands of abomination. The temple that we know to be our physical body is been built by the devil, basically. You know what I'm saying? With all these contaminants, toxins, and all these things going in here, blocking the heart pathway, that pathway of energy to get back into that blood flow of where our ancestors or the elementals, as Dr. Arlene expressed in the fourth page of First World Order, the book there, stated that the elementals is where the ancestors are flowing through after they have passed on. They don't just go out to the clear blue yonder or heaven or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Ashes to ashes, dust to dust. So ashes to ashes, dust to dust. What does that statement mean? You know what I'm saying? We're breathing in the elementals all day long. And if you meditate, like talk about, then you're going to breathe in even a deeper concentration of those elementals. So that connection of the ancestral energy or the answers that are somewhat complex and intricate are going to be answered by way of that connection. You know what I'm saying? If you're praying and all that means you're trying to get on the phone. It's like you gotta have that's physically. That's like you got a cell phone and you asking for the connection back. You calling the cell phone people, the company like something wrong with my line. I can call y'all, but I can't get the connection to so and so, my ancestor over here, or my friend over there, or this energy over there. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, I'm talking to y'all, but I need to talk to them. Hang up, put the cell phone down. That interface is crushing the pineal gland. It is like making that thing go. Because then we get these emotional hang-ups, you know what I'm saying? Because now I got to play this game. I got to move these blocks. I got to do this on the phone. I got to take this picture. I got to selfie. I got to send. I got to, I'm waiting for a react. I'm waiting for this feedback. You know what I'm saying? This feedback mechanism gives us energy, hormonal energy that's feel good. You know what I'm saying? Which is cool. But it's other things, it's active things in the active body, this physical body that we can do without sitting there thumbing all day. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, baby's gonna come out, they're gonna come out like this. You know what I'm saying? The hands gonna be like that already. They ain't even gonna have nothing in there. You know what I'm saying? It's just gonna be they gonna be like, I'm just joking. But I'm just looking at this reality like we are going through in particular an adaptive type of, or we are being altered mentally. And you remember what the MK13 thing was all about, is alters. So now we playing these video games with these guns and all this, and then and if the person is psychologically not there already due to nutritional devalue or malnutrition, then it's going to be easy to manipulate the psychology to go out and do hazardous things to other people because they ain't thinking through that. They're not there, you know what I'm saying, consciously, like to talk about. So they get all this brain staining going to the subconscious, and then they get this trigger in their brain or whatever it is because of the information that is misleading is told in certain aspects or whatever the reality that they thinking is true, and they go out and act on it, you know what I'm saying, with their reactive mind, their reptilian mind, fight or flight, you know what I mean. Your spirit is of God and the body is of earth. All right. So again, there it goes back to the elementals. You know, the ancestors go into the earth, the soil. You know what I'm saying? Then into the air. You know what I mean? We breathe it in. We breathe in the soil. Then it goes burnt by the sun and turns in that dust on the window pane, and then circulates back into the physical body over thousands of years. And then it is interacting with the soul once again. You know, the soul pretty much is participating in the whole process through DNA or the elliptical pattern of the sun. You know what I'm saying? And then flows back into a physical entity. You know, spirals are very intriguing to myself. You know what I mean? All right. So this is out of the Kemetic Diet, where I was just reading ancient African wisdom for health, mind, body, and spirit by Dr. Muwata Ashby, the Kemetic Diet. I've been practicing and studying and practicing this for about 5 years, 6 years, give or take. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna read some more out of here. Before that, I'm gonna come back into this in a few. This is also Muwata Ashby, Egyptian yoga, postures of the gods and goddesses. You know, a lot of people have misconstrued that yoga is just stretches or postures, you know what I'm saying? And that's it, you know what I mean? Just movements, stretches, a little exercise, you know, sweat, a little something, something. But in actuality, yoga is much more than that. I know you get tired of looking at me, I'm getting tired of looking at myself. So we're looking at yoga. I'm gonna read this out of here. The study of the Egyptian mysteries, early Christianity, and Indian Vedanta yoga will provide the most comprehensive teaching on how to practice the disciplines of yoga leading to the attainment of enlightenment. The question is how to accomplish these seemingly impossible tasks, how to transform yourself and realize the deepest mysteries of existence, how to discover who am I. All right. I'm gonna read this. This is a poem I wrote here, and it is actually entitled "Who Am I?" Hopefully, you can understand it. It ain't nothing too complicated. My poems are from the heart, but I am an intellectual as well, so I infuse the intelligence and intellect. I have to take what I have around me and utilize the words that I have built as far as a vocabulary and bring about my poetic experience through the portal of this physical body. Give thanks. All right, who am I? You, me, us, the light of darkness surrounding our bliss. It was so simple then, the reminiscent currents flowing in nurturing winds. The rally of friends, omens, the nations ascend. As it was, it is, the questions answered amidst the quiz. Confusion release opening gates of permanency, claiming an unforgotten past once submerged in dormancy. The weakness of a smile, masking mass forgetfulness. Now she is free. Now he is free. Now we are free, vibrating in our greatness. The cry, the laugh, the first, the last, the future has passed, the present is grasped. Young grasshopper, seek not the memories of wont, yet cherish the given moment of the unseen, the uncreated, the non-destroyed. Pointing in the direction that leads nowhere, standing on a box transmitting to all angles. Finally we know, finally I know, finally you know. Who am I? You, me, us, the light of darkness surrounding our bliss. All right, give thanks. So who am I? You know what I'm saying? Who are we? That's the question that, we throw that up. As soon as we get into the conscious information, one of the things that comes to our minds, first thought, is who am I for real? You know, I thought it was going to be this, thought it was going to be that, but who am I? You know what I'm saying? So that's what true yoga is about that. How to answer or discover who you truly are. You know what I'm saying? And without experiencing that, you know what I'm saying, actually being active in that mode of is different principles and different disciplines within what we call yoga. Yoga means to yoke, basically, or to unite, to link back. So to unite, it also ties back into or links back to the united field or unified field in quantum physics. You know what I'm saying? And that's talk about the grand unification theory, that all things are interconnected. You know what I'm saying? So the different aspects of yoga and practicing it, you know what I'm saying, with a very consistent and persistent frame of thought and physical, it develops one into the who am I question being answered by that connection with the ancestors. If you recall, there are 5 different modes. I'm going to grab another book here. We give thanks to Muatu Ashby, Dr. Muatu Ashby, and the Egyptian yoga information right there. So these 5 realms of nature: cosmic nature, ancestral nature. Well, let's go in the correct order. And I'm coming out of this book here. Smai Tawi. So that's a unification of both lands right there. And it's by Tep. So the 5 nature realms, you got cosmic nature. All right, so that's the astral realm. Constellations, sun, moon, star, you know what I'm saying, those things, asteroids. Then you have environmental nature. Environmental nature, air, wind, water, earth, trees, shrubs, grass, all the things that's in the environment. You know what I'm saying? The ancestors are flowed through that as well as in the cosmic nature. You know what I'm saying? Then you have the animal nature. So you have your fishes, your insects, your mammals, you know, all those different things inside of the reptiles and marsupials, you know what I'm saying? So you have these different animals within the animal nature. So you have cosmic nature, then you have to step down into environmental nature, where it's more on a physical realm of not just sight where you can see, but you can feel the sun and you can feel the energies of the constellations if you're dealing with that, you know, properly. You know what I mean? Then you go down from cosmic, environmental, fire, air, water, earth, you know, all the things on the earth, fire, water, and air. And then you have animal nature, you know what I'm saying? And then we have ancestral nature as the 4th step or whatnot, going as we descend or as it steps down. And then go into human nature as us, you know what I'm saying? So human nature is connected to and communicates with all those different other phases. So human nature is connected to ancestral nature when it's aligned properly, ancestral nature. Then human nature is connected by way of ancestral nature to animal nature. The animals do what? They eat the grass. You know what I'm saying? They breathe into, they drink the water. You know, animals eat different insects. You know what I'm saying? We might not necessarily eat some of the things the animals eat. But by eating it, if you do eat meat, you know, I don't eat meat. I deal with the yoga diet or whatever, Smai Tawi, when I'm at. So I don't eat meat, but if you are eating meat and you're eating it properly and it's coming from, you know, the right sources properly, it's not genetically modified or it's fed, you know, the right grain, well, not just grains, but it's grass fed and it's not giving hormones, it's giving the right nutrients and it's being with mom and all that, whatever is loved and has attention, then maybe, yeah, you can get some information from the ancestors, but to get well, okay, so human nature connected to ancestral nature, connected to animal nature, it is connected to environmental nature. So if you want to really dig into who you are and start getting some of that, you know, saying some of that debris out the way, go into the environmental nature and the cosmic nature, constellations, you know, astrology, the horoscope, and things like that in a meditative mind, trance mode or conscious trance. You know what I'm saying? So that conscious trance, true meditation, not just, you know, I'm going wrong. Conscious trance is like in between both realms. So that means like I'm not really sitting there asking for anything or whatever. I'm just breathing in to gain a better connection, to bring advance the intuition to where some of these things that are not really seen, we become more mindful of, and then be able to activate and be active in it without the confusion and the complacency of fear. You know what I'm saying? All right. So we went from human nature to ancestral nature, that's connected to animal nature as well, and environmental nature. So the environmental nature, fire, air, water, earth, you know what I'm saying? You put them candles down, one represent fire, one represent earth, one represent air, one represent water, and you sitting in that thing like that right there. And just by thought, you know what I'm saying? Just by putting that thought in that vibration and that frequency, which is a higher vibration and frequency, it adjusts or readjusts and then alters the lower state and brings about an interchange of the energies of the higher and lower minds to where it's interconnected by way of that pathway of light through the heart. You know what I'm saying? And then we go to cosmic energy. You know what I'm saying? Cosmic energy is basically like it's where everything is generated from the intelligence level down. You know what I'm saying? Dark energy, dark matter. That's that pool, that quantum field, or that unified field that I was just mentioning about in quantum physics. You know what I'm saying? So that unification or the grand unification theory is based on how all these things is already there. It's just how we have to refocus our thinking apparatus, our brain, or the mind. The all is mind. So the all is the grand unification theory, or it is the unified field, the quantum field. So if the all is all that, and we over here thinking about some physical stuff, then that interconnection ain't there. So then we go to the temple, the external temple, and we praying, oh please, oh please, oh please. We're on our hands and knees, begging and pleading like an animal to not be left out of the roll call or whatever. And so be it. Amen, or whatever. You know what I'm saying? It be what it be. Yet still that manipulation of our brain thought, our brain waves or whatnot, has caused us to become more subject to subjugation and slavery or mental slavery. You know what I'm saying? Stepping out the box, being receptive, being able to objectively change the atmosphere of your life by principles that are not based on the mass deluge of brain control or mind control and brain staining. All right, so cosmic, environmental, animal, ancestral, human. So ancestors is that phone line to get to them other realms too. You know what I'm saying? So when we go into the dream state, we seeing certain things activate. That ancestor is giving us, that's that landline, so to speak, you know what I'm saying, or is it cellular line within our own cellular structure, call it the DNA, where the nucleus where the DNA is now opened up, and now we're getting filled with information. They say it's empty, 99% of nothing right there, 99.9 nothing going on. Say 99.99% junk DNA, nothing going on. Open it up with that light. When that light jump in there, that information, you know what I'm saying, starts to be more expressive into your particular walk. You know what I'm saying? There's something else I was going to read out of here before putting it down. Let me see. Or did I speak on that? Prayer is a learned behavior. It's not natural. That's why little children have to be repeatedly reminded by their parents to pray. Don't forget to say your prayers. All right. So when something is natural, that means you know that fire. You touch that. Oh shit, that's hot. You know that water. You drink it. Oh, I'm acclimated to, or now I'm hydrated basically to this heat. I'm acclimated to this heat. You know what I'm saying? Or you know that this is dirt when you fall and you got dirt all over yourself. You know what I'm saying? Now prayer is something that has been given, so-called as a gift, to be able to access communication with God. Yet if it was natural, and God being natural or natia, then you don't have to have no access to nature. It's already there. It's part of you. You naturally know you got to take a dump. If your stomach say, your intestinal tract say, oh boy, oh, you gonna start taking it. You gonna evacuate yourself. That's natural. Now, normal now, especially in America, they gotta take some antacids or some shit, Tums or something to force this gas or this gas reflux or whatever they got GERD going on to stop hurting or whatnot because the diet, okay, the standard American diet. You know what I'm saying? Diet. They do want the intelligence to die. So they have put stress on the physical body, ignorance rising, and keeping us in a flux of ignorance, basically, of not knowing, so that we will go back and get more stress added to it. And then we got a stress reality. I got to get up, go to work. I got 5 children that don't want to listen to me. I'm ready to kill myself and them. The next thing you know, bam, you know what I'm saying? Some, altars, waiting for a trigger to force them into a situation that is going to become a repetitive mode inside of their own DNA or their reincarnation status, basically. Not to get into that too much. It's another topic all in all. So that diet, that deaf, ignorance, and emotion, that deaf to the intelligence. You know what I'm saying? And that again is as you can see, Smai Tawi, pretty good, decent read here. I've been reading it for a year now. And I still ain't got out of, I'm like in chapter 4. It's one of those you have to go back into. Okay, so knowing that we are energy beings and that everything that we are doing and everything that we are capable of doing is based on energy. All right, so remember that as energy beings, our universe responds to the frequency, or our physical reality responds to the frequency and vibration of the energy that it recognizes on our personal level. So it doesn't recognize our wants, desires, or needs. It only understands the frequency in which we vibrate at that as our personal signature. So when we vibrate at low frequencies of fear, hate, guilt, or shame, then we attract similar vibrations that support those frequencies. Yet if we vibrate at the frequencies of love, joy, and abundance, then guess what? We attract the vibrations that are supportive of that frequency. So again, we go back to the heart and the energy that is being manipulated by way of fear, hate, guilt, and shame. Heart versus love, courage, acceptance. So when that happens, that's a high blood pressure. That's the osteoporosis. That's that I'm emotionally eating, with these custom made, what do they call them? Feel good foods or whatever. They're very, very structurally made and almost, to me, they resemble fake food. I went to New York and got a sandwich. It was just spinach and vegan cheese. I ordered it from one of the restaurants. They delivered it, but the bread was so shiny. It looked like artificial fruit. It was so shiny, like they sprayed it. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. It looked plastic. I ate it anyway. Good thanks. You know what I'm saying? It was pretty good. It had some type of sauce on there that I ordered. I didn't ask him what the ingredients was. And I did detox after that trip. But I get thanks. No. So when we vibrate a lower vibration, then we only going to manifest what that vibration is on. If we vibrate at a higher vibration like a love, joy, and abundance, then we're going to manifest a physical reality that's supportive of that inner reality. So those that know, the frequency and vibration and know how to manipulate it can also manipulate and control man and others. Remember, that's one of the seven principles, the seven hermetic principles, law of vibration. So right here, going back into the Kemetic diet, states right here, the mind-body connection and diet. Matter of fact, hold up, I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm gonna go ahead and break down some of this other science over here, because we're dealing with blockages. You know what I'm saying? We're dealing with things that need to be moved around, so to speak. You know what I mean? That's causing conflict within our particular creative processes, and being able to function and activate certain things within us. I'm just going over some things real quick. I'm gonna get back. Oh yeah. No doubt, yeah. Thanks. Sometimes I love my hair too, but sometimes it's all good. It is what it is. It's gonna be what it's gonna be. Today is one of them days. You know what I'm saying? Peace, all. You know, peace, brothers and sisters. And like I said, I'm gonna get back to us. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, why is it so easy to manifest negative things than positive? As I was speaking earlier, the reptilian brain, you know what I'm saying, being interconnected, and also we taking a lot of toxicity, which would be a lower base. You know what I'm saying? So in that transaction, or that transitioning from what we would want to happen as being positive in the intent of our heart, it may turn out into a negative manifestation due to the shadow beings in that interconnection of the lower self or the lower base. You know what I'm saying? When all things are based on, like what Morpheus said, are you paying attention to me or the lady in the red dress? When things are based on the active mode and not the sit still mode, or the mode the word is coming from, everything is moving regardless. You know, time, space, it's a movement of energy. Yet the way we see things is we looking at it like it's rigid and not moving, but it is still moving as far as the physical is concerned. But in that transition from I'm in my attempt or whatnot to access the realm of like the quantum field or whatever, and it's all these other distractions going on around me that I'm thinking is real too. In that manifestation, it's going to pick up the energies that's already here that may be lower base or negative, you know, so to speak. Like you had an ionosphere, right? And in the ionosphere, you have negative and positive ions. But these negative and positive ions eventually flow into the other spheres, you know what I'm saying, of stratosphere, the mesosphere, and all the way down to the biosphere and and where we are, you know what I'm saying, as far as inside of this thing, you know what I'm saying. So when these different pieces of the puzzle are placed together, but it's like we miss one piece, then that manifestation could seem somewhat negative because of, to make it simple, this is how I look at negative manifestations. So to speak, Tantra, right? So we're going into Tantra, and one of the individuals got a couple, right? And the one individual wants to be or is going through the spiritual walk, you know, conscious about everything, paying attention to diet, paying attention to thoughts, paying attention to actions, you know what I'm saying, going through the disciplines of devotion, love, wisdom, reading, studying, practicing what they preach, you know what I'm saying, doing all that. Then the other entity in a relationship ain't doing so much, you know, might be doing the meditations, but, you know, distracted by things in life, you know, worry, stress, might have resentments and family issues, or might be watching too much TV or something, and that causes other sentiments to to elevate it within, that ignorance rising, stress, you know what I mean? So in that stress, and then they go into a actual copulation where they are becoming one or merging, and they are going through intercourse and becoming intimate, and then they ain't having a baby, so to speak, like a physical baby, that's going to be born in 12 months or 9 months, but they have that spiritual baby, and that spiritual baby in turn could be a shadow being or shadow baby or whatever, and have negative aspects occur in their life, running around, flattened tires, whereas the manifestation that one wishes to produce is to have a car, and but the alternative of that would be, as far as on the lower, would be my car payment didn't get paid, or something else like lights, or something happens in the car accident. But these are just basically they're warnings, they're precursors to certain things that could happen that may be even more traumatic. So follow, the intent of the heart has to be constant. That's right. So follow the intent of the heart, and act on what the intent of the heart is. With the physical. When the energy comes in there, the energy, the inner God or the inner voice starts speaking to it. It's very subtle. That subtle energy. It's not like yelling at you like a drill sergeant. You better get out of that bed and, make your bed or beat yourself up. You know what I mean? It's gonna be like, I love you, even if you don't get out of the bed and make it up. Peace, straight pounds of peace, God. But what we have to eventually come to grasp is that ain't nothing gonna happen unless we do it. We got to be that responsible entity. We got to be that God force energy that's gonna stand up and say, "I'm gonna do this." You know what I mean? So just continue to walk in your path, and everything gonna be all right. That's right. Yep. Good things. You know what I'm saying? So getting back to that energy thing right there, well, actually, like I said, I was gonna come back to that. So we have energy all around us. You know what I mean? It's all type of things that's going on that can take us away from who we are internally, because all this other stuff is going on outside of us. So what people call that is clutter. It's too much of something jumping around in front of us. So that clutter, over time, this is something that I had put together a few years ago, but it's called clutter in the mind. So you see that room right there. So imagine I'm trying to find somebody called me 5 years out. You know what I'm saying? It's been 5 years of me building up this clutter in this room right here. This might just been a month. I don't know. It's somebody's room. But 5 years out, and they like, you remember I sent you this information that you were supposed to sign and send back. It's been 5 years. We've been waiting on what? I might be over exaggerating, but this is just hypothetically speaking. So 5 years of this waiting and all this, they call me like, okay, can you send that? Do you have it? And you go into the office, you're like, oh, like, I'm gonna find this information. So you get on your knees and pray that this shit just jump up out the floor, fall in your hands, right? If you're energy right, it might just do that. But all in all, what is being, just looking at this picture's worth 1,000 words. If our life is like that right there, and his blockage is going into the heart, then how are we going to get to the answer? How are we going to get to our conclusion? If this is the room of a heart, even though we got Hetaru right here, the color yellow or whatnot, so that's solar plexus, but it's leading up to the heart energy. How am I going to get to that point if all these other things, these items is blocking it? So I'm going to read this right here. Once again, the clutter in the mind. Have you ever made any effort to sort through things and get rid of items that don't serve any purpose in your life anymore? You may or may not have realized it, but you have opened up space around you to be filled with new and better things to make their way into your life. It has to do with universal law, the ebb and flow of spiritual abundance. I have found it to be true that the more we hold on to useless items, the less satisfied we become. Cluttered spaces secretly take away your creativity and energy. When we rid ourselves of all the useless material possessions, we place the attention on empty spaces. This increases our awareness and brings our conscience to light. Decluttering detaches us from the emotional attachments we have created with things that are not serving us anymore. Holding on to things that are associated with negative experiences only focuses our mind parts of um where is I only focuses our mind on more of those kinds of experiences and in turn recreates those experiences in our life. When we declutter our home of things that have negative associations, we make room for creating new positive relations and thereby new experiences. Y'all done been to people's house. This is someone's kitchen. You know what I'm saying? They're trying to make it neat, but it's just cluttered with all type of things that's not necessary. You don't need so much in the kitchen. You can't see where you at. And the kitchen is the heart of the house. The feng shui. So you got all this going on where you can't stand the heat in the kitchen. Get out, right? The fire is burning up too much stuff in there because there's a lot of stuff going on. And if we declutter, it's like when we declutter our home of things that have negative associations, we make room for creating new positive relations and thereby new experiences. Decluttering our stress, creating more room for applying our creativity and artistic drives. The hidden energy that is released from de-stressing our homes reaches out in all other areas of our life, including internally, and creates impact and creates a positive impact. This creates what metaphysicists call the butterfly effect, a term which refers to the idea that when a butterfly flaps its wings, it creates a tiny change in the atmosphere that may lead to a bigger chain of events like altering the path of a tornado or even prevent its occurrence. You see how that clean room over there versus this, the before and afters right here. What I mean? Someone had to open up their eyes and be like, what in the hell am I doing to my life? This is their life right here. I bet you it changed up after they decluttered. See, they got space to even lay down in there and read a book. You know what I'm saying? To get some other things flowing with their energy. You know what I mean? That's peace. That's positive. Positive peace is positive. Wait, what is peace? Positivity. Oh, elevation always creates positive elevation. Always creates elevation. Peace. Dang, how did it leave me that quick? I say it every day, just about. It'll come back to me in a second. All right. So, bam, butterfly effect. Positive energy always creates elevation. There you go. Positive energy always creates elevation. Peace. It's how that positive energy in there is going to elevate you. You know what I mean? Regardless of what the circumstances is around you in this fear-based reality, keep a positive state of mind, and it will bring about the elevation. Because again, ancestors or Ancestral, the answers reside within positivity, not fight or flight. It resides in that relaxed state. You know what I'm saying? The parasympathetic nervous system, melatonin, is within the relaxed state. You know what I'm saying? Versus serotonin within the fight or flight. All right, so that term, which refers to the idea that when a butterfly flaps its wings, it creates a tiny change. That's the butterfly effect or the chaos theory. This point is even a small event that can cause, but it's basically saying even a small event can cause a chain of larger scale events and alter the layout of an entire civilization. That's the chaos theory. The butterfly effect. See that butterfly and that tornado over there, you know what I'm saying? So if we run around, oh, it's going to be a storm, it's going to be a storm, guess what? It's going to be a storm. We creating that outcome, that event. You know what I'm saying? Everything is interconnected. All thoughts that are by man, animal, whatnot, it's going to influence the animation or the creation and the fulfillment of the external reality. So decluttering our home creates deeper levels of serenity and fulfillment in our life. The extra space that we create by decluttering our spaces allows free flow of the chi in our home or the energy, prana. You know what I'm saying? This free flowing energy alleviates our problems and creates a deeper level of harmony and balance in life universal. According to ancient beliefs, what we focus on expands itself automatically. When we focus our attention on clutter that surrounds our physical space, our unconscious mind starts creating more clutter in emotional areas of our life and in daily interactions as well. On the other hand, when the physical space when the physical space around us is clean and well organized, we create more balanced relationships and stability in life. As you can see, decluttering goes beyond just the physical realm of our life. It has a multitude extends from spiritual to financial and emotional realms. Few things in life can cause more stress and aggravation than an overwhelming amount of clutter in our immediate surroundings and spaces in which we are living. All right, so it prevents us from getting our main concerns right. Clutter does not only mean discarded clothes, year-old bills, and spoiled food in our refrigerator like a hoarder's house or something. It also extends to interactions gone sour. Holding on to that, that's clutter. Friendships, which have turned out to be anything but a friendship, and goals in life, which have become dismissed, that's clutter. So hoarding and clutter are closely related and will only divert our views from the really essential things. We waste time rooting through old and useless items in our quest to find the one we really need, resulting in stress and frustration, which can seriously damage our health and efficiency. Are you wondering what clearing the clutter from our homes has to do with healing? Often I have found that when we clean up our surroundings, we clear our mental and emotional bodies as well. Pain and disease in our lives can be indications of overabundance. Release them and be able to travel along life's path a little freer afterwards. Nothing will do it faster than cleaning out the closet or the darkness or protecting your melanin, as Francis Cress Welsing stated. So clean your melanin, detox, and stay on that detox. You know what I mean? That's alchemy. That's the alchemistry of man. You know, alchemy is basically the transmutation from lower to higher self. You know what I'm saying? We break down the word alchemistry in comedic sense. All means to tie together. Kim means dark. As means the throne. Ra or Ray, chemistry, Ray. That means a door or a chapter of mysteries, and man means daily. So to daily tie together the chapter of mysteries through the door and the throne of darkness. You know what I'm saying? So to daily, that means every day is a process of tying together the chapter of mysteries, the unknown, by way of the door, or, you know what I'm saying, by way of As, the throne, Aset, the seat, home, the true home, which would basically be dark energy, dark matter, you know what I mean, that quantum field, that quantum energy, you know what I'm saying, the seat, the throne. So daily tying together the chapter of mysteries by way of the throne, by way of the dark throne, or the throne of darkness, melanin, you know. That symbol right there that's big circle is the quantum field, basically. That's that dark energy, dark matter. This triangle represents the knower, the thinker, and the doer. So the knower is at top. The knower knows it comes from the point of exactation, which would be the initial point of creation, or the day before creation, if you will. That's that field, you know what I'm saying? Then it becomes the thinker, so it's thinking, the knower, the thinker, then it becomes the doer, the physical body. That is the square. So the square is the fire, air, water, and earth of the environment, the physical body as it flows down from the knower, the thinker, and the doer. The doer is not yet so so-called physical, like we deal with numerology. You got 1, 2, and 3, and then the fourth realm is where the manifestation of the physical reality starts to become personified. So, and then you have the square right there, which represents that. My bad. And from there, you have the circle. The circle is your soul encased in all of that. You know what I'm saying? So these different symbols here represent or represent the alchemical expression within itself. You know what I'm saying? The bigger circle, the outer circle, that's the circumference or whatnot. That's as it expresses itself, as life expresses itself outwardly and inwardly in its own self. You know what I'm saying? Time space doesn't really exist. So that's why that circle in the inner is you as the soul, and the circle on the outside is still you as the quantum field. You know what I'm saying? All of it is interconnected. The physical body is being contaminated right now to where the know, the thinker, and the doer is being altered by way of manipulation or brainwave manipulation. You know what I'm saying? All right. So what is alchemy? The art of manipulation of energies and the transformation or transmutation of self. You know what I'm saying? The dark power or force, the dark energy, that force, the alchemy, um, again, alchemy of man, the alchemistry to daily tie together the chapters of mysteries by way of the dark throne or the throne of darkness, by way of melanin, to daily tie together the mysteries by way of melanin. You know what I'm saying? Protect your melanin. Protect your neck. Get protect your neck. Old school, real Wu-Tang right there. All right, so the art of alchemy includes transmuting negative energies into positive. Also clairvoyance, healing, and distance healing. That's Reiki and Qigong, basically. Um, art of alchemy also includes transmutation of self and self-actualization with I am affirmations. Uh, keeping the body healthy and slowly aging by cellular regeneration by way of meditation and Tai Chi, Qigong, eating properly as well. Studying the principles of energy, like dark energy, dark matter, and the undifferentiated energy matter that is formed into the physical reality. Studying the nature of time and creation, the time is now, zero time, or the point of singularity, zero time. The point of singularity is all physics and as well as metaphysics. Reaching or returning to enlightenment. That's the last aspect of alchemy or alchemical expression, the chemistry of man. So the returning of enlightenment is the higher consciousness or the truer self, the higher consciousness being connected with the lower consciousness and no longer being enslaved by our senses or our five thieves, the five senses, and being able to reach the higher state of true self or true awareness. All right. And that is the alchemical or the alchemistry of man. I had a class I was teaching about 2 years ago online on this right here. Went for 8 weeks. I'm gonna put it back out there in a couple of I'll get another flyer together and get it posted and let you guys know exactly when that's going to take place. But it's just basically it's a discourse on the alchemistry of man or the alchemy of man, the alchemistry of mind, and how to manipulate those energies to transform yourself into the enlightened being. You know what I mean? And it is an act. It's knowing is half the battle again. G.I. Joe, no doubt. I seen that, threw that up there. Get thanks, bro. Let me see who's that. Knowing is half the battle. Omar Ali, no doubt. Knowing is half the battle. G.I. Joe wasn't playing. I get thanks. You know that, right? You know what I'm saying? It's the functioning of the process, if you will. Go into that realm right there. One has to, be able to not just read something or hear something. You know what I'm saying? Hearing is believing. Seeing is knowing. So I can hear it, believe it. I can see it, read it, or whatever, and know it. But to experience it is to become who you truly are. And then in that experiencing process, the experiencing is actually becoming the enlightened being or that Buddha. You know what I mean? All right, so getting to the yoga diet, a little bit more so. We're gonna talk about this energy thing again, coming out this book. In a few seconds, we're gonna come out the book, but there is a lot of hype out there when it comes to what we should eat, and pertaining to life in general and being healthy. You know what I'm saying? So this right here is the ancient symbol of Smai Tawi, or the union of the two lands. And when we're thinking about yoga or yoga diet, you gotta remember yoga or Smai Tawi means union. Semi means union. Tawi means the two lands. So we're thinking about two realms, upper, lower Egypt, if you will, but basically the lower and higher self. So the lower self will automatically become accustomed to performing certain activities that make it feel good, make the lower self or the physical body feel good. And we get in that pattern, you know what I'm saying? The higher self, in its true intent, the heart intent, Haru, doesn't sit in that darkness. You know, Haru and Set. Haru means light, Set means darkness. So Set rests, darkness rising, rise to the head, because rest also means, or in Rash, Resh in Hebrew means the head or the top. So R is actually the symbol of someone's head. You know what I'm saying? As far as inside of the alphabet or inside of symbols, R is the symbol. The lowercase r is the head, is the neck going up into a curved head. All right, so darkness rising, when those interactions are, when Set or darkness is controlling and in power, then the light is being dimmed, heart is being dimmed, and the functions of the physical body will be not so powerful or strong. You know what I'm saying? And Haru has to conquer that by way of action. So he does that, or the hero aspect has to go down into the Set realm to locate the animal nature and then bring it back up to where it's unified at the heart and be able to breathe properly. You know, you got the two lungs with the feet right there standing on it. You know what I'm saying? Papyrus and I forget what the other, lotus right there, lotus. Set has the papyrus and Haru has the lotus over there as far as the plants. And then it's going up the spine right here, the jid, the backbone of Asir, and then it's unifying right there at the heart level, so to speak. Oh no, it's actually at the throat, the larynx, because your vibration, your frequency, what we tell ourselves over and over repeatedly is what we're going to activate into the physical reality. So unification at that point right there is very important because of that vibration and that frequency. If we're at a low vibration with our thoughts, in our physical reality is going to be a low vibration. No manifestation of abundance, of peace, of love, of truth. You know what I'm saying? Whatever it is you're trying to locate in this non-local reality, really, you know what I'm saying? But whatever we're trying to locate, it ain't going to get there because we got this blockage right there. We ain't unified. You know what I'm saying? There's other things that we speaking from a lower base, and it's not bringing about that exchange of the energy that we subconsciously and consciously want in a positive frame of mind. All right, so that stress that is going on, you know, the mind-body connection. There are four main categories of relative causes of illnesses of the physical body.
However, in reality, there is only one. The four categories are smoking, alcohol, diet, and stress. However, smoking, alcohol, and diet can all be placed under the category of stress. Since more people engage in smoking, drinking alcohol, and eating a poor diet due to feeling stress, stress causes people to mentally feel frustrated and angry or sad and depressed. Frustration and anger, as well as sadness and depression, affect the physical body. They cause the release of hormones and other chemicals in the body which promote a weakening of the immune system, changes in blood pressure, redistribution of fat, ability of the blood to clot, etc., resulting in imbalances in the various systems: nervous, muscular, vascular, hormonal, skeletal, urogenital, respiratory, lymphatic, digestive, so on of the physical body, leading to conditions such as cancer, heart disease, stroke, diabetes, osteoporosis, and etc. Okay, so that's the relative cause of physical illness is the mind-body connection in our diet. All right, because our diet or things that we do like smoke, alcohol, diet, and stress lead to um, immune deficiencies, and these deficiencies can eventually lead to the cancers, the heart disease, stroke, diabetes, osteoporosis. Because now that I'm stressed out, I smoke, trying to release stress, or I drink, trying to release stress, or I diet, or my diet is like emotional disorder, eating emotional eating disorder, where I'm just binging and craving all these different things, trying to release this stress. So once I get this stress so-called released by, different hormones being in the body, I build up a tolerance level to where the first cigarette, when I was just smoking one or two, turned into a pack. Now it's 3 packs, then it's a blunt, then it's crack, now it's heroin or opioids. It ain't doing no good for nobody. You know what I'm saying? And it's just making the external reality more chaotic than the chaos theory in itself. You know what I'm saying? It is all based on the chaos is there already, but we are here for order, so to speak. You know what I'm saying? In peace, might somewhat, you know what I mean? But in this disordered mentality that we have, the information that has been given back to us, so to speak, if you will, is on a lower base. You know what I'm saying? It's telling us to do certain things. We got this trap music, we got all type of trap shit going on, keeping us in a trap. You know what I'm saying? Yet still is creating more stress. You know what I'm saying? It's not alleviating the stress and bringing about order, or we're not in accord with nature. So this does not mean that diet should be overlooked, because we shall see further in our discussions diet does have an effect on every aspect of one's being: physical, mental, emotional, spiritual. All right. So physical health is not a simple matter as just eating some well-balanced diet and all will be well. One must also pay attention to what thoughts and consequent emotions are dwelling in one's mind moment to moment, being mindful of what we are thinking of as we partake in certain sustenance, even if it's just the information. You know what I'm saying? When an idea exclusively occupies the mind, it is transformed into an actual physical state. All right, so I'm just reading a few excerpts out of Comedic Diet. I'll come back to it in just a few. Yeah. Actually, I'm gonna go ahead and read this. What is the connection between diet, religion, and spirituality? The physical body and the mental body, mind, senses, and emotions together comprise the vehicle of the soul, which it uses in its journey of reconnecting with its true essence. As such, any mechanical failures in these areas, mind, body, and soul, will cause a delay in reaching the final destination of experiencing abiding peace and joy, or enlightenment. Thus, just as with a car or any other vehicle, the first thing one should want to know is, what is the right fuel for my vehicle? Yet very few people ask this question in relation to their bodies and mind. What should the body be fed? Is it built for eating meat or vegetables and fruit? Is it made for consuming alcohol or water? and juices? Is it made for inhaling carbon monoxide from cigarettes? Is it made for consuming foods that are cooked? Do the foods I eat have any influence on my mental state? Do the foods I eat have any influence on my spiritual development? And yes, it does. We're going to get into that right now. All right. So again, like I'm saying, there's a lot of hype on their thing about what we should eat and being environment conscious about the food choices that we take in. You know, it's the hip thing, it's the fad. You know what I'm saying? You know, hormone free beef, free range chicken, farm to table. We got vegan restaurants popping up everywhere, organic, gluten free, macrobiotics, farm raised fish. You know, there's a lot of things going on. You know what I'm saying? This is structured by reality right now, as it is being is you know, if you know anything about bandwagon and propaganda, is money involved. You know, I think holistic health is like worth over $1 trillion at the moment. You know what I'm saying? So many people often mistaken like vegan diet for being the same as a yoga diet, or what does it actually mean to have a yoga diet, right? So what is a yoga diet? A yoga diet is in yoga or in Ayurvedic philosophy, you have guanas. Guanas are three qualities of nature. So Raja is the hot, spicy, fast quality of nature. Tama is a little bit slower. It's lethargic and it's bland. It's like it's tasteless. And then you have Sattva, which is purity and harmony. So a yoga diet should most definitely be sattvic. You know what I mean? Pure and harmonizing with nature and the physical body. So these three qualities are present in all things, but in different amounts, making one quality dominate. Meaning that it's present in nature. It's not just talking about just food, but we're talking about the Smai Tawi met, or the yogic diet. So rajasic foods are hot, bitter, dry, salt, or spicy. They overstimulate the mind and excite a lot of passion in the lower self. In contrast to tamasic foods, which are bland and include meat, alcohol, tobacco, garlic, onions, fermented foods, and overripe substances that really don't have any flavor. Sattvic food is the purest diet. It's the purest way to take in sustenance. The most suitable one for any serious yoga or any serious student of life is or alchemical, or one who is practicing alchemy, because it nourishes the body and maintains a peaceful state. This in turn calms and purifies the mind, enabling it to function at its maximum. A sattvic diet will ultimately lead to true health, a peaceful mind in control of a fit body with a balanced flow of energy between them. So as you look at this sign right here, the wrong way to think about food: bad foods, good foods. You know, yeah, we know these bad. Yeah. You know, sometimes people might just binge on the bad food. You know, these are good, but why are they so good? Because the bad food, so-called bad food, they have high calories and lower volume, and they're less nutritious. So they don't have any nutrients. Basically, they're empty foods, or, you know, empty calories. Whereas you have foods over here on the right hand side: avocado, bell peppers, you got chicken up there, I think, almonds, salad, banana, apple. They're more nutritious. They have nutrients. So that means it's whole food, not empty foods, or it's whole calories. So the body knows what to do with that energy. It doesn't just sit in there and turn to fat or into some type of mukidu, which would basically be mucus in the body, or phlegm. You know what I'm saying? We're going to read on that. I'm going to read about that in a few minutes out of the Comedic Diet too. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and read that, you know, since I'm there. First, I'm going to read this. What we seem to perceive with our senses is in reality only different aspects of the same substance. That is, when energy vibrates at high speed or frequency, it appears as light. such as gas or electricity. When it vibrates at a lower speed, it appears as a solid, dense material, objects such as rocks or metal. The higher the vibrations are, the more subtle the material will appear to be. The slower the vibrations are, the more solid the material will be. And static, it will appear to be. When matter vibrates at a high rate, it goes beyond the gaseous state. Then matter appears as rays, such as sun or X-rays. At higher rates of vibration, it will be so subtle that it could fit in between the empty spaces in the slower vibrating matter. It could pass through it or reside in it. This is the subtle realm of the spirit body which inhabits the physical body. The object of all spiritual movements is to identify one's consciousness, one's concept of who one is, with the subtlest reality, rather than with the gross physical reality, because the physical one is perishable and transient, whereas the subtlest one is transcendental and immortal. In fact, it is the subtle spirit from which gross matter is created. For this reason, keeping a light lifestyle which promotes higher mental vibrations, a light diet, and light thoughts are important, as well as will be seen in further chapters. This is the Kemetic diet. Go into the Emerald Tablets. In the Emerald Tablets, where it states, as above, so below, as below, so above. Truth without consequence, a most imperishable truth. Truth without falsehood, a most imperishable truth. That which is above corresponds to that which is below. That which is below corresponds to that which is above. For the purpose of miracles up to one thing by way of meditation. And as all things in creation are from this one thing through transformation, and all things in creation are from this one thing or this one mind by way of transformation. So truth without consequence, truth without falsehood. Yeah, truth without falsehood, a certain and most truth. That which is above corresponds to that which is below. That which is below corresponds to that which is above. For the purpose of miracles up to one thing by way of meditation. And as all things from this one mind by way of transformation. Its father is the sun, its mother is the moon. The wind carries in its belly. The wind carries in its belly. The earth is its nurse. It is the origin of all the consecration of the universe. Its innate powers are perfected when it turns to earth. Separate the weak from the gross, or separate the subtle from the gross, the earth from the heavens, gently and with great ingenuity. It rises from earth to heaven and then descends back to earth, thereby combining within it both the powers of the above and below. Hence you obtain the glory of the universe, and all obscurities will be cleared, because this is the greatest force of all powers, because it penetrates every subtle thing and overcomes every solid thing. So going back into the subtle and the solid, and then also how the energies of, like the solar energy or whatnot, the cosmic energy, comes down into the planetary orb, into us as well as the planet, and it flows this pattern of energy, just flowing, and develops into life. So as above, so below. So when this takes place, the statement was separate the subtle from the gross. So right here it says the subtle reality rather than the gross physical reality, because the physical one is perishable and transient, whereas the subtlest one is transcendental and immortal. In fact, it is the subtle spirit from which gross matter is created. For this reason, keeping a light lifestyle which promotes higher mental vibrations, a light diet, and light thoughts are important, as well as will be seen in further chapters, as the brother Dr. Muata Ashby expounds. So keeping a light body by way of having, separating the subtle from the gross. Separating the earth from the heaven. and then it descends back down into earth, you know what I'm saying? Thereby combining within it both the powers of the above and the below, because that's the unification by way of the heart, you know what I mean? So that's that sun, Haru, the light, you know, that when that light gets to jumping properly, you know what I'm saying? It actually says right here, um, the subtle, it could fit in between the empty spaces in the slower vibrating matter. So it goes into that subtle space of the DNA, the vibrating matter, and it actually fills it up with information, light information, you know what I'm saying? So that the object of all spiritual movements is to identify one consciousness, one's concept of who one is, who am I, with the subtlest reality rather than with the gross physical reality. Separate the subtle from the gross, the earth from the heavens, gently. That don't mean go in there with force, intent over force, gently and with great ingenuity, you know what I'm saying? Thereby combining both the powers of the above and below, you know what I'm saying? Unifying both aspects, the unification theory, the grand unification theory, Smai Tawi, yoga, you know what I'm saying? Yoking, you know what I mean? You can't sit down on the three-legged chair if it's supposed to have four legs on it. You know what I'm saying? So processing the information by way of obtaining the information, of course, you know what I'm saying? Obtain, retain, and cultivate. So we obtain the energy, the light, then we retain it, absorb it, you know what I'm saying? Then we cultivate that energy and bring that energy to light, you know, in the external reality. You know what I'm saying? The process and the function. All right, so what is blocking that is this right here. Pus or mucus is seen as the negative byproduct of an abundance of eukaryote or disease in the body. A healthy body should not produce an abundance of purulent. Purulent is again something containing or a discharge or causing the production of pus material. All right, but it does so when there is an imbalance in the intestinal tract due to excess waste or an obstruction in the processing of waste. Thus, while there is normal amount of mucus, white blood cells, and other materials in the various parts of the body, the disease state causes an abundance of mucus and pus to emerge out of the body. The emergence of pus and mucus in the body is a result of the body's attempts to clean or cleanse itself of the disease process, such as one with a cold. Thus, mucus and pus are expressions of the same disease process. When food or unnatural medicines are ingested, the disease cleansing process is impaired, thereby exacerbating the condition of perpetuating it indefinitely, because the body's natural mechanism is to repair the imbalance that has been shutting down the immune system in order to devote the energy towards processing the new materials that have come in. This is why there is a need to practice fasting along with the change in eating habits. Eukaryote or the disease state can emerge in a wound in the form of an infection as well. All right, so mucus, pus, having a cold, flu, pneumonia, or bumps, eczema, you know, candida, irritable bowel syndrome, high blood pressure, uh, inflammation, arthritis, rheumatoid arthritis, lung disease, you name it, is based on mucus or excess mucus and abundance of mucus in the body. You know what I'm saying? Crohn's disease, all these different things is taking place within the physical structure, anatomically and physiologically. Even the mental issues, psychological issues, bipolarism, manic depressive, schizophrenia, it's mucus, something going wrong, ADHD, autism. You know, something is happening in the intestinal tract now is building up this mucus. It come out in the cold first, you know, that's one of the first signs, you know, sniffy nose. Look, I try to keep clean. I try to purge every day, meditating, sweating, Qigong, Tai Chi, of course, diet. You know, my diet is based 80-20, more alkalinity than a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Less acid forming or mucus forming food items. There's a difference somewhat, but if you're eating an acid based diet, like cooked food, a lot of cooked food or foods that put acid in the body, then you're going to form more mucus than someone that's eating a more alkalizing diet. All right, get back into this right here.
So the sativa diet, you can read over that. There are three states of if it's legible, I believe it is. I know it is. All right, three states of consciousness and their corresponding foods. Many people do not realize that what they consume has a strong effect on their psyche. This implies not only foods, but all manner of consumption. Just as there are three major states of relative consciousness, there are three basic kinds of foods. This first group is composed of those foods which engender restlessness, agitation, and distraction. Examples are sugars, salty foods, dry foods, hot spices, coffee, fish, poultry, eggs, and etc. These foods promote passion, stimulate the emotions, and excite the body. Also, eating it in a hurry promotes restlessness and distraction. The second group is their first food would be Raja. The second group is Talma. And this third group is Satava. But going to the second group right now, the second group is composed of foods which promote dullness. Examples are meats, tobacco, alcohol, fermented foods, and processed foods, stale or overripe foods. These foods promote dullness of intellect, anger, hatred, greed, volatility, negative thoughts, disease, and clouded reasoning ability. These foods are filled with negativity due to the way in which they are handled in the food processing system. The addition of unnatural chemicals to food in and of itself is reason enough to classify them as tainted with poison. The killing of animals effectively poisons the food with negative hormones as well as fear vibrations from the animals. Also, the human digestive tract is not designed to handle meat, so the food rots as it passes through the intestinal system, causing diseases such as cancer. Is there any wonder why medical doctors admonish those who contract cancer or experience heart trouble to stop eating meat and to stop smoking? Should they begin promoting a meat-free diet for everyone, including themselves, at an early age? If smoking is known to produce cancer, shouldn't it be outlawed as are other addictive drugs? Poisons are sold out of greed and ignorance. Also, such poisons are consumed due to ignorance and addictive desire. Dull foods are not good for the body or for the mind, but much like stimulating foods, they create an addictive form of dependency wherein even when the person has a full understanding of the deleterious effects of the foods, he or she continues to consume them in any way using the excuse, well, I want to enjoy my life even if I shorten it. The weakened will disables a person's reasoning capacity as well as their willpower to resist the urge of the foods. Um, lucid foods are those I'll talk to telecom. Lucid foods are those which promote harmony, inner mental peace, bright intellect, willpower, and etc. They foster purity of the mind as well as the body. They are nutritious and enhance the body's ability to fight off disease. Examples of these foods are whole foods, cereals, fresh vegetables and fruits, legumes, seeds, nuts, sprouted seeds, herbal teas, and honey. Those are sativa foods. All right, fresh fruits, pure fruit, butter, cheese. If you do dairy, I don't do milk and dairy. Legumes, nuts. That's me myself, Not sprouted seeds, seeds, honey and herb teas. Um, so, what should a yogurt diet be, or a Smai Tawi with the mix? It should be a vegetarian diet, basically. There's a statement by Yogi Bhajan. It states that he said that, this is a quote, the lion is an excessive meat eater and he is called the king of the jungle. But no animal can match the elephant, a complete vegetarian for pure strength. And that gorilla too, you know what I'm saying? There's different animals out there that's as strong as a joke. But we overlook them and be like, well, I'm going to be a lion in the jungle. So fear of protein deficiency is the meat eater's main objection to a vegetarian diet. Yet, ironically, meat eaters obtain the worst quality protein from their food, protein that is dead or dying. Animal protein contains too much uric acid and other toxins to be broken down by the liver. Some are eliminated, but the rest are deposited in the joints and tissues, leading to problems such as arthritis and cancer. So that depositing of all those toxins from the animal proteins that can't be broken down, like uric acid, causes us to go through, that's that mucus thing again, go through a process of healing. And some of it just get dumped in there and it doesn't really move out, so that's that obstruction, the blockage. Uric acid is a toxin that also makes it harder to reach the higher, clear, meditative state because it is an irritant in the bloodstream. So that blood flow by way of the heart is causing this, this blockage again, high blood pressure and whatnot, making the body do too much and not be at ease. Is in a disease state instead of at an ease state. In an at ease state. Meat is also among the greatest sources of cholesterol, which contributes to heart disease, hardening of the arteries, and senility. Meat takes 3 days to pass through the digestive system. For optimum health, men need to digest food within 24 hours and women within 18 hours. So that means the elimination process should be within 18 to 24 hours for humans. You know what I'm saying? Some people it take 3 days, 5 days for them to have a bowel movement, a good bowel movement. You know what I'm saying? And then that's just from the week before probably, the excess, because they're going to eat everybody eat every day, so regular in, regular out. That means we should, if I eat once a day, 1 meal a day. I haven't ate my 1 meal yet, probably about 5 o'clock. And usually about 12 hours, I'm a dump. About 5 o'clock and then about 6, 7 o'clock in the morning, I evacuate myself. So it's still within that realm, but me eating only once, that 8-hour of transit, 18-hour of transit is about right naturally. You know what I'm saying? Nuts, dairy products, leafy greens, and legumes are full of higher quality protein. The main residue is cellulose, which is inactive and does not pollute the body. And it is readily digestible and utilized by the body quickly and effectively. All right. So a yoga diet should definitely be vegetarian, no meat. It should also be free of chemicals and stimulants. Choose organic when available. Avoid caffeine, tobacco, alcohol, and artificial sweeteners. These substances are not healthy for the body and alter the mind, making it more difficult to concentrate on the divine. Because the body got to be thinking about healing or is thinking about this what's on TV, and then it becomes agitated and more so susceptible to misinformation. You know what I'm saying? Because that reactive mind wants to keep chewing on that bone of fear. So a yoga diet should contain fresh foods. If possible, always prepare fresh meals. Frozen, prepared, packaged, and leftover foods should be avoided. That processed stuff from in the frozen section, only take it in fresh and the best. You know what I'm saying? A yoga diet should be regular intervals, 2 hours before asana practice or sleep.
Oh, you picking up Ashley? Mom said you got to pick up Ashley.
If you train your body to eat at regular times, say at 10 a.m. and 6 p.m., it will better utilize its energy throughout the day as it anticipates intake of calories at these times. The body has cycles and functions best when the body has cycles and functions best when these cycles are regular and steady. The same goes for our meal times. Avoiding food 2 hours before exercise or sleep helps the body function at its best capacity. Energy for digestion should not be taken away for the purpose of exercise. Ensuring proper time for digestion before sleep helps to keep the mind clear. Thus, the hormones produced during sleep can be utilized efficiently to repair tissue damage and fight infection, which is ideal instead of for digestion. All right, so that's why I put up the Chinese clock right there. You can look that up and grab it off of the internet if you want to. Get a book about the Chinese clock or traditional Chinese medicine. And what the Chinese clock is based on is basically different times, different cycles of the day or intervals of the day that we should be participating with certain activities within our body that coincides or corresponds to nature as well. So like right here, you got waking up at 6 a.m., release bowels, meditate. And I've been practicing this maybe 4 or 5 years as well. Well, maybe even longer. I got this information. I've learned about the tradition of the Chinese clock through my martial arts instructor, who is a traditional Chinese medical doctor, and he put me on G on this. So I started practicing it. Now it's just part of like my culture. I deal with it every day, basically. So 6 a.m. wake up, release bowels, meditate. 7 a.m. breakfast, get something in. I drink water, a little apple cider vinegar, and then I go out and I walk or I exercise, I run, or do something like that, good concentration. And then by 10, 9, 10, spleen, clear thinking, spleen converts food to chi. Um, right here, and that's a good time to be out with building right there between 9 and 1. Blood circulation, high energy, eat lunch around that time, noon time, you know what I'm saying? If you will. And then you go into other aspects as you continue on that cycle. This is another picture of or symbol diagram of the traditional Chinese medicine clock. All right, so that'll be there, and you can also pick it up offline and be able to utilize that on your day-to-day functions, if you will. You know what I'm saying? It comes in handy. Is a positive influence. It helped me. It learned me how to, like right here, when to go to bed properly. You know what I'm saying? Otherwise, sleep and regenerate, as it says right here. Well, as I was reading earlier, the hormones produced during sleep, like melatonin, helps with it's a free radical, it's an antioxidant and an anti-inflammatory, and it also helps repair tissue and fight infection. So if we go to bed at the proper time and we sleep sound, then we're healing. You know what I'm saying? But if we're eating that agitated food, that toxic food, it's gonna keep us up through the night. Also unplug, remember, you know what I'm saying? Attempt to at least have your room in complete darkness and nothing plugged up, you know what I mean? Because that 60 hertz keeps us at a brain wave of agitation as well. Take time to fast. Um, at least once a week is recommended. Choose a day out the week to fast. It can be strict. It doesn't have to be like no food at all. It could be just one item of food and some water, or just water, or juice, or it can be just an all-exclusive dry fast. Whatever you choose, keep in mind that the goal of your fast is to purify the body and mind. All right. So those are different aspects of a yogic diet or sattvic diet, basically, and or the Smai Tawi Wunamet. Alkalizing is very important. Stay alkalized, keep water going in the body versus acid forming items going in the body. You can also look that up. Acid forming foods, you know what I'm saying? Some acid forming foods, which we probably eat, like rice, carbohydrates, basically, is acid forming. So it's less of that and more vegetables, like avocados, kales, cauliflower, broccoli, beets, lemons and limes. Almonds is acid forming, but it's not as much acid as eating a cookie, some processed cookie or some M&Ms or a hot dog or a hamburger or something like that, or some deli meat or sodas, with high fructose corn syrup, alcohol as well. I think it's like 12 ounces of alcohol, like one bottle of beer is okay, and 5 ounces of wine or champagne, not champagne, but of wine is okay. But over that, it starts to become acidic. It starts to become more of a problem or issue, basically. All right. We're getting down into the information of a little bit more. So, again, one of the things that we are attempting to do here, or what we are doing, is protecting our melanin. It's like saying melatonin is produced when we are in a sleep state. And why is melanin so important? Because melanin is attached, or it is basically everything in this natural environment, you know what I'm saying, in the biosphere. The definition of melanin in the book by Dr. Bynum, Dr. King, and a few other authors. I think it's called Darkness. I had to go. I used in my room. The melanin is precipitated as black material. It is in the biosphere as eumelanin, pheomelanin, and allomelanin. In the lithosphere as minerals, graphites, and fullerenes. In the atmosphere as pollutants and smoke. In the hydrosphere, seas, lakes, and rivers. And in the cosmos as fullerenes and cosmids. Melanin is an amorphous semiconductor because it is always in motion, always changing as a result of its central chemical core by adjusting to various energy levels. Because of this motion and by virtue of low resistance to the flow of electrons, melanin displays consistent semiconductor properties. Therefore, melanin serves as a switch for the flow of electrons to higher or lower levels of energy. The low frequency of charge transfer currency gives melanin the ability to bond with strong affinity to drugs and metals, heavy metals, which ultimately damages neural tissue and overall functions via cell death. So what that's saying right there is basically melanin is a semiconductor. Doesn't matter what the energy is. Again, universally, energy doesn't have any type of prejudice of wants, desires, and all that. It's going through exchange of energy, low to high. You know what I'm saying? So if there's a low base energy going into this melanin, the transference currency and the ability to bind with strong affinity to drugs and metals by way of melanin being that it does have a strong transfer currency, to any type of frequency, low or high, is going to grab that drug or grab that heavy metal that's in those chemical additives and it's going to attach to the physical body, therefore damaging the neural tissue and the overall function of the body. And that's where cellular death comes into play. And from cellular death comes the other mishaps or the misfortunate events of the physical body that proceed. You know what I'm saying? Because we live or die by cellular regeneration or degeneration. We live by cellular regeneration, we die by cellular degeneration. And when we put in the acid forming diet, the standard American diet, then we are participating in suicide basically and causing cellular death at a low pace, but it's going to happen. We even progress it by taking the medication that the pharmaceuticals or the medical doctor, as far as allopathic is concerned, gives us. All right. There's melanin, male, darkness, mela, black, darkness. And then nin, like I like to say, nin is from Sumerian script, nin meaning lady or queen. So the dark queen, the dark lady, protect your melanin, protect your lady. We have lost the way, and it's subconscious now. It's a subliminal thing. They've replaced the matriarch with the patriarch. So now we worshiping this man in place of venerating and respecting and protecting our lady, our queen, our melanin. You know what I'm saying? That dark energy, dark mother, that dark matter, dark matir, mother. You know what I'm saying? That dark lady right there, melanin. And when that happens, this crazy world out here happens. You know what I'm saying? And our energy is affected, so to speak. You know what I mean? So neurons that are deficient in the black material known as melanin or neuromelanin is consciousness. So neurons that are deficient in neuromelanin or the black material will show a deficit in current energy. This thus jeopardizing consciousness, intellect, motor activity, and other critical functions. So when we're having these blockages due to not protecting our melanin or not feeding the melanin what is necessary, like good thoughts, good food, good people, then what happens is neuronal, or basically the neuromelanin, which is conscious, now has an energy flux that is on a lower current level that jeopardizes the actual flow in of consciousness and then also motor activity and other critical functions that can elevate or advance one's particular walk. So neuromelanin is invaded in the investigative force. What is something? No, I don't need to read that. So when we're speaking on melanin, reading this, melanin is the most ancient and worldwide pigment in living organisms. The very thing that colors the bark on trees brown and the soil of the earth. It dwells in your very essence. Okay.
Gotta put it on pause.
So when we're thinking about neurons, we're also thinking about nerves. The nervous system is your interface with life in general. So our nerves govern the sensations through which we experience our life. When our nerves are smooth, then the sensations are vivid and clear, and they give us a great deal of happiness in our daily life. When the rhythm of the nervous system is taxed and spiked, then the quality of our life is felt through bodily sensations and like pain and things like that, that dramatically decrease our interaction or our happiness in life. To make this point very obvious, clench your hand into a fist and squeeze it real, real hard and keep it there and see if your ability to feel your hand goes up or down. What happens to your mind when you clench your fist like this? What happens to your breathing? How long can you maintain this clenched fist before your mind starts churning with tense thoughts? How long can you maintain this clenched fist period? In in general, the moral of the story is that tension is not sustainable, and as it goes further down the line, its negative effects increase. So the more we think about negative thoughts, the more it increases without any particular type of positive conclusion. So this is the primary reason why stress is such an insidious plague in our modern day. Stress is really just a fancy word for tension. The hustle and bustle, hurry up and wait lifestyles of our modern age are shredding people's nervous systems and in the process numbing them to much of the happiness that is possible through the high level of body awareness that relaxed nerves create. The reason that this becomes so relevant to breathing is that the breath is a direct portal into the nervous system. Give thanks. The sister had just mentioned is take them deep breaths, inhale, exhale. You know what I'm saying? In heaven, exhale. You know what I'm saying? The reason that this becomes so relevant to breathing is that the breath is the direct portal into the nervous system. In fact, breath training is the easiest and most available tool for gaining access to the nerves and beginning to relax them into a state of clarity. It is this deep access to the nerves that is responsible for many of the spectacular feats of body control that masters are known for in the East. If you take your breathing practice far enough, it becomes a way to bridge the gap between your sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous systems. This has the capacity to take you to a whole new level of body awareness and sensitivity. High level training aside, you do yourself an enormous favor when you even begin to learn to use your breath to pattern relaxation into the nervous system. Doing so will allow you to continually shed the stress of your day and nurture a visceral feeling of well-being that only a fully alive body and a mind can provide. To accomplish this takes less effort than you might imagine, and it's well worth the small investment of time and effort you would put up with a fuzzy signal on your television or favorite radio station. So don't settle for a fuzzy second-rate nervous system, because that's basically what's taking place. You know what I'm saying? Within it's like a transmission from a radio signal. If our nervous system it has is staticky, or it has a lot of the signal is not basically being read properly through the whole cerebral cortex in the nervous system, then the signal or the connection to our ancestral information or the light that should be fed into the DNA within the nucleus is not getting there properly. You know what I'm saying? So I tell you, my friends, it's all in the nerves that tense and relax as you approach the edges of companionship and love, the razor sharp edges of companionship and love. So if you get into that point of companionship and love of self, basically, and you know what I'm saying, that's where it really starts happening. Like you get all type of um, what they call resistance going on. You know what I'm saying? Get that rubber band thing going up the hill. The rubber band is tied around our waist. You know what I'm saying? And we going up the hill. That resistance is right to now. Like, oh man, I'm making it up here, but oh my God, all these things trying to keep me wanting me to bounce right back to what it was. That's nerves. You know what I'm saying? That connection. So taking them breaths. Don't just go up there trying to hold the breath going up the hill. You take them deep breaths in and exhale and become more advanced in that breathing, and you will see a difference. You know what I mean? Yes, indeed. It's just indeed. So enlightenment is so. Well, did you know this stretch right here? Reading this. This stretch stretches the hips, hamstrings, and calves, strengthens the thighs and knees, keeps your spine strong and flexible, reduces stress, anxiety, depression, and fatigue, calms the mind, and soothes the nerves, relieves tension in the spine, neck, back, and activates the abdominal muscle. One of my favorite stretches. Matter of fact, if I got time and space here, I think I got a little time, a little space. Not really. I ain't got space. So basically, you just go into it. I always relax first. I bend my knees at first. Get down into it right here. Just let the back go. Let the lower back go right here. Just drop. Then put your hand behind your knees right here under the calves, right at the calves. Then tuck your chin to your chest and come up into the knees. Like bend the knees to where they're straight. Keeping the back straight and bringing the abs in on the exhalation. So inhale, sort of like bulge the lower abdomen out. Exhale, and stretch. And as stated, it's good for relaxing the nerves. You know what I'm saying? It helps with strengthen the thighs and knees, keep your spine strong and flexible, and reduces stress, anxiety, depression, and fatigue. So you ain't got to go out there and overeat or look for some drugs or alcohol trying to release or relieve that depression and stress. It calms the mind and soothes the nerves. So it's positive, versus some of the negative outcomes that can be produced by doing those negative activities. All right, the power of your amazing brain right here. The conscious mind controls our brain only 5% of the day, whereas the subconscious mind has a hold of our thoughts 95% of the time. The subconscious thoughts are basically learned behavior, things that we learn from a young age, and then we participate with it in life. That's 95% of what we do day to day. The conscious mind, which is aware, is only 5% of the day, and we don't really function with that part of the brain. You know what I'm saying? So if I still drink Pepsi Cola and I'm still thinking that the education system is pure, and if in hospitalization and medicine is what I need, then that's that 95% of our learned behavior from a young age. All right. It says right here, boost your brain power with meditation. It's proven to increase IQ, release stress, and promote higher learning levels, releasing that stress. Um, your brain is 2/3 fat. Myelin, the protective sheath covering your neurons, is 70% fat. Eating fatty fish, green leafy vegetables, olive oil, avocados, olive oil, chia seeds, flax seeds, and nuts. That's what I do. Replenishes your neurons and brain cells, therefore replenishing your melanin. Basically, you know what I'm saying? Keeping that melanin strong and tight, keeping you right, you know what I'm saying? Black don't crack, protect your melanin. Loss of fatty acids, EPA, and DHA are linked to depression, Parkinson's, and Alzheimer's. So thoughts are real. Your thoughts cause biological and physiological effect. Your body responds to mental input and as if it were physical or real. You know, so even if it ain't happening, your body gonna react. Your cellular structure will react like it is happening. And you know that's why I used to talk about the football quarterback getting sacked on the TV and we jumping up and down like it's us, and the body doesn't really register it as not being us. So we need to do what? Relax. You know, relax, relate, release. You know what I'm saying? Fear, face everything and relax. Just chill. You know what I'm saying? Don't worry, meditate. You know what I mean? Basically, you know, just stay calm, meditate, right? You know what I'm saying? That's the energy wave right there, and it's personified in all things. You know what I'm saying? Energy turns into particles, particles back into energy waves like that, the electron. You know, so get into your enlightenment state of knowledge or wisdom and unite, you know, with the infinite compassion of yourself and others. You know what I'm saying? By way of the heart. Knowledge does not mean just the increase in facts or in testimony of the world view down to the finest details. Enlightenment is an understanding of both the relative mode of existence, the way in which things appear to us, and the ultimate mode of existence, the way true nature or the true nature of these same appearances. This includes the interaction of our own minds as well as the external world. This form of knowledge is the essential answer to ignorance and so called suffering. Ignorance doesn't mean a lack of awareness. What it means is unclear vision of reality that makes us think that what we see around us is permanent and solid, or that our ego self is real, independent being. This leads us to mistake fleeting sensual gratifications or the easing of pain for lasting happiness. Such ignorance also makes us attempt to build our happiness on others' unhappiness. Yeah, I've seen that before. As sensual beings seeking pleasure, we are magnetized to what satisfies our ego personality and are repulsed by what might harm it. That's that fight or flight. As a result, gradually we form enormous mental holograms in anticipation of a set reaction that originates from a selfish approach. This ignorance then feeds on itself as a parasite will, and our inner peace is destroyed. Enlightenment is the ultimate remedy to suffering. In the midst of this wisdom, it seems that knowing the brightness of stars or the distance between them may be amazing in itself. However, can it teach us how to become better people? Once a man asked the Buddha the same type of question about cosmology. The Buddha replied in this manner. He picked up a handful of leaves and asked, "Are there more leaves in my hands or in the forest?" "There are more in the forest, of course," replied the man. The Buddha went on and said, "Well, the leaves in my hand represent the knowledge which leads to the end of suffering." What he implied is that certain questions are non-essential. The worldview has infinite fields of study, as abundant as the leaves of the forest. Yet, if what we want more than anything is enlightenment, then it is healthier to focus holistically on the plan at hand and gather only the knowledge that correlates to our mission. If you don't make efforts to acquire knowledge, then you wouldn't expect to have it. And if you don't put the knowledge you have to use, you can't expect to gain from it. And there's the Buddha. You know, it's the big Buddha right there. That's not the true Buddha. You know, the skinny Buddha, the fat Buddha, if you will. The big Buddha is representing abundance, long life, longevity, you know, things like that. That's supposedly a dictation of the true Buddha, but you know, folklore is, you know,
we put a symbol, or we'll say one man or one person or one woman did so to not have a glorification of all people. You know what I'm saying? It's cool, I guess, and that's enlightenment. So holistically. So yeah, if what we want more than anything is enlightenment, then it is healthier to focus holistically on the plan at hand and gather only the knowledge that correlates to our mission. You know, so we could be fed a big bunch of bull, Dorian, President so and so here and there, or Texas, or shoot, what is the thing we call black water in the cause it's weird, you know what I'm saying? But it was back a couple of years ago. But it seems like that may be taking place where they are actually attempting to have these orchestrated events. You know what I'm saying? Throughout the world, really. You know, it's Hegelian dialect. You know, problem, reaction, solution. The solution is already formatted. They just the system produces a problem that we react to in a fear state. So, you know, then it converts that energy into whatever is going to be the next year around. Right? Heart activity affects our ability to think. Right? So, when the heart is blocked, it causes disordered heart rhythms, inhibit third brain activity, and inhibits our thinking. So, ordered heart rhythms improves third brain function and facilitates our thinking. The medulla oblongata, you know, the house of God, the mouth of God, you know, the Akashic records. How are we going to tap into the Akashic records if we're having problems or issues with the heart, but due to the toxicity of thought and toxicity of the sustenance of food as far as being consumed? The human energy field and demands assemblage point. As you can see, the vortex of energy field is called the assemblage point. The position shown is the location and alignment for the optimal mental and physical health, organ, and glandular synergy. So that's right there at the heart region. You know what I'm saying? So that is the human energy field and man's assemblage point. We are getting all this energy right here through the heart. Optimal mental and physical health should be right there. The position shown is the location alignment for optimal mental and physical health. Right there at the heart. So we want to get good and healthy. Of course, like we saying, the yogic or sattvic diet, Smai Tawi, when the met, the food that we should consume in order to unite the upper and lower self, or the higher and lower self, the lower and higher consciousness, the inner and outer. It should be based on a vegetarian vegan diet. It should be at certain parts or intervals through the day. Definitely shouldn't meditate with food on our stomach. Pay attention to the cycles of the year. There's a few different things that we should actually be participate with. Go back with and look at the traditional Chinese medicine. I'll pull it up one more. And check that out, you know, and see where you are in that, and just build off of that. You can, like I said, you can look it up online and pull it up, and you'll be able to get a better understanding or understanding all the above on that. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna go ahead and we're gonna float up out of here. I'm going to pick my niece up from school. Shahol. Yeah, she's going. They just started school over here. Been on here since 12, somewhere around there. Give thanks. I know I'm about to close out, and if you guys see, give thanks to all you for participating, bearing with me, having patience with me. Yeah. Iron is very good. It's part of us, you know what I'm saying? And it's good detoxes and helps with heavy metals, releasing heavy metals out the body. Didn't get into a lot of things like that. Yeah, no doubt. Good things. That's what's up, Jerry Blaze. That's peace right there. Peace of elevation. Good to see you back in, Lord. Okay. Sister said check out Sancho Spinaci. We be doing all that metaphysical things on online. Check him out. You talking about the red and blue on blood. Yeah, the holy breath, most definitely. Meditation in general. There's a few different techniques. Go over a few of them again. A couple of Dr. Alim goes over them as well. It's a few of them out there. Some of them, you know, not so abrasive or volatile, but they all work. Yeah, you know, you might have a bellows breath or fire breath where you pumping in and out. That kind of critical. You know, you ain't know. But then you got simple breaths like fire, water, or water breath where you just take in 6 second count, exhale out. Ain't no alternate breathing or alternate nostril breathing, or it's no changing the pattern of your breath by continually going in and out. No doubt. All right, so I'm gonna get about. Like I said, I love you all. Cause I love myself. You know, no doubt. You know what I mean. So can't do nothing but love you, cause we all here together. I give thanks again for you guys participating, being open, and being patient as well. All right, no doubt. Peace, prosperity, protection, and good health.
Yeah, ATV, above the dome, track of freedom, family, tradition, heritage, the missing links,
Spiritual miracles, the awakenings, the walking sphinx. It's time to eat.
Come back to that real quick.
Food
Regroup a little bit, if you will. Unplug. And
ATV, above the dome, track of freedom, family, tradition, heritage, the missing links, spiritual miracles, the awakenings, the walking sphinx. It's time to eat, food for thought, the metamagician. Holy rainwater flows off my altar, channel through the seasons, elevate the reasons. What's the purpose of life to the living, death to the conscious. At the end of the days, clash of the titans, zombies running rampant, Christ in the paper, looking for the lamp, living at the church, plugging in that
ages, son of the undead, vaping, immortal rage, bleed red ink in the page, words of truth, no signature, to the blur, from invisible literature, sitting at the doctor's grave, of Otis, having rituals, turn the lights off, it can get real quick, sir, make pop mix, I'm in search for a fix, walking backwards, looking forwards, patient waiting, don't ignore it, holding two swords like peace signs aimed at the wood. Darkness to light, walk into flight, hard eyesight, interdimensional terabytes, fuel for the journey, sunlight a fuel for the burning, colored in the book of law, no need for attorneys, I turn the page, feel the script like a doctor coming out the cage, I'm the lion, fed grain, sticks and stones, no pain, a worker's only worth his gain, attempting to keep my inner sane, with lifestyle changes, high than mountain plains, seven thoughts, no faults, who's to blame, it ain't the same, they take the names, I feel the sun, it ain't no fun, if the homie can't have fun, I see you run like Hussein Lightning, it seems frightening, exciting, I go to screaming lightning, I'm the nigga loaded at night. Time, space is obsolete. Locate the unlocal. Way above, you're so below. The permanency of non-movement. ATD. Above the dome. Tropic freedom. Black water, the metal magician. Mad scientist on the track. Peace.